Hello, Adriano. Thanks for putting your hand up for a WordPress spruce up, a little service that I'm trialing out at the minute, just really for a bit of fun, see if there's a market for it. So the website you sent, Adriano, was this one. I am not going to try to pronounce things properly, and I've had to turn on Google Translate just to translate the site to English because I think it actually helps to know what things are, what the call to actions are, the headings, the different sections and things to give the best advice. So first up, I was a bit reluctant to take this one on just because actually the design isn't really all that bad at all, and I'm really hoping to do videos like this for when I can make the biggest impact. But there was a few things, enough of interest that I thought was worth commenting on. So let me just go through maybe the home page, maybe a couple of other pages, just give a few ideas. I'll try to make some changes in the browser where that's appropriate, just to kind of show what I'm talking about. And you can take these ideas and go with them or ignore them. It's totally up to you. Okay, so let's get started. Kind of standard looking full screen background image hero section here. The interesting thing here, and I think where this doesn't quite work, is that it's really missing a headline. I know there's something of a headline down here, but it's not great. So I think there should be something catchy and bold, probably above that box to start with. So I read through that initial paragraph, and I think the democratization of data really stands out as a potential headline. So I'm just going to try to like insert one in here somehow. So I'm just going to do text align center, color white. Let's see if I've just written the word data. So I mean, it could be democratizing data in Brazil or just democratizing data. It's kind of up to you. Obviously, the positioning of that's not quite right, so let's see what we've got in here. I think it's this. Pushing all that stuff down. What happens if we bring that right up? That looks kind of nicely spaced out there. Okay, that's not bad. I think that helps just to give it a kind of attention grabbing headline. The next thing is that this box I'm not a massive fan of for a couple of reasons. Mostly, it's just hard to read because it's on a background image, because the color contrast isn't high enough, because it's center aligned. Lots of stuff going on here that just the text is actually quite small. So let's start having a little play with this and see. I want to just be able to see a bit more of my screen there. Even if I can see half of that, that'll be handy. Maybe move this over to the side a little bit. And bring this in a little bit. That'll be all right, like that. In fact, so this might be tricky. Yeah, there's a lot of inline styles going on here. That might be a little bit tricky to override. For example, so you've got an 18 pixel. I mean, I don't know the font hierarchy, but let's just have a play. Color text shadow, 1 pixel, 1 pixel. Don't really love the text shadow. I don't think that was actually helping. I think I'd also probably want to see this broken up into multiple paragraphs. It's probably too big a chunk of text. We help people in organizations. Yeah, after like just before the by joining us section. Wow, this is crazy. So yeah, so here. So if I edit this, obviously this will be much easier for you to do in your in the editor, but I'm doing my best just in the browser here. So that can look like, okay, at least I've got that to play with. So what if I do 1M there? And then this is a bit sat a little bit too far down by itself. Wow, the markup for this is pretty crazy. Like there's this span in there. How if I just delete that? That's better already. I think that was just a spacer span of some kind. Yeah, there's some pretty crazy stuff going on in here. So let's see if I can find it. I mean, there's that. Right, great. Now I want to grab this paragraph and I'll give it, gotta spell it properly for it to work. There's no such thing as a margib, as far as I know. And there's some weird spacing issues going on here. Okay. I think the background color is a little bit too subtle, personally. And I think the border is unnecessary and actually dates it slightly. And then there's some padding going on here. Certainly want to give it a bit more top padding to balance out the bottom padding a little bit. And in fact, I think I probably want to give that a little bit more as well. I mean, I still think that's too wordy. I still think that's too hard to read. But it's better. I think that's a lot stronger than it was. I'd personally probably say that the title now kind of loses a little bit of its prominence, and you'd want to do something to help that. But generally, that's a lot more engaging and a lot easier to read than it was before. So let's leave it there for now and continue down the page. I feel like this section needs a like what we do or something above it, like just to introduce what these three things are. So and it would just help with consistency with the rest of the sections below. So maybe in this same style as this news, just have a what we do above here. Difficult-ish for me to do. Let me just see what the markup would be for that. Be interesting to know what page builder you use for this. Can I just copy that? Let me see what happens. And let's go up here. It's hard to navigate all this. There's lots and lots going on. It looks like Visual Composer or something. Not a huge surprise. I don't know. Can I paste it in there? No, it didn't work. So it's really difficult to do all this stuff just in the browser. If I collapse these sections, can I just drag that up? Okay, we're getting somewhere. This stuff's a pain. This is when I need access, but is that going to capitalize it for me? It is, great. just while we're here, I don't know what the margin top is, but I'm just going to eyeball it for now. Oh, it doesn't work. Great. Let's see. Is it going to work on that? It's a bit better. Okay. Okay, I don't mind that. That's all right. But I don't love these big gaps underneath. So I'm just going to see if this works. I tighten that up a little bit. And again, under this, what would happen if there's a margin bottom on this. So I want minus. It's on the whole thing. All right, let's forget that for a second. So this isn't how I would recommend that you actually do make these changes, but I'm just kind of visually doing it for you so that you can just see what they would look like. So a good general rule is to keep, design rules to keep things grouped together. So you want your what we do title to be closer to the bit that says what we do than whatever's above it. Likewise, you want this news title to be closer to these news articles than this row. While we're here, I don't love this hover state because it doesn't mean anything. Usually a hover state indicates some kind of action, or it'll reveal some like additional information or something. But this is just kind of a hover state for the sake of it, and I find that a bit confusing. You kind of think, hang on, is there something to click? And I start clicking around and there's nothing to click. So I'd probably look to remove that. So in the next section here, we've got this Masonry Style. Looks like the kind of blog, latest blog posts. It's all right. I think that the typography here could do some work, and the spacing could do with some work. And these read more buttons are positioned really quite strangely. So I don't know. Let's see what I can do on a kind of global level to this. Again, I'm not entirely sure how this has been put together, and I might not have the ability to change this on a kind of global basis, which would be really ideal. So that font size, I think that's too big. You're not getting enough words on there. And also the fact that it is forced uppercase, I don't love that. So does none do anything? Text transform. Is that because it's typed in like that? Go dig. Oh, so that's just done the date. And then where is the uppercase applied here? It's in this rule, title H4 light. And then I potentially, just to make sure that that is a bit more prominent. It's really hard to do this well because I'm making changes to things that I probably shouldn't be. The line height here I don't love. I think that's interesting. It's not really doing much. I wonder why that is. It could be because line height is set somewhere else. I'd want to tighten up that line height a little bit now. It looks a bit too loose for my liking. This is, yeah, it's tricky, I've got to say. So hopefully, I'm going to tighten that up. I'm going to tighten this up big time. Now it's going to look a bit naff because the masonry has been generated with the way it was. So that's made gaps now that kind of can't be fixed. So this, I'm intrigued. I am intrigued about this. What on earth is going on? I am absolutely intrigued by this. So padding. Where's all that vertical height coming from now? It's going to be this here. Footer sharing. Have I got a good class for that? Display none on that. Okay. Okay, I'd probably want to do a little bit more here. Let me just get back into this one last time. And I'm just going to work with the margin a little bit, wherever that's set. Let's have a look. So it's got this margin 20 on top. I could reduce the top. I don't care about the sides. A bit more on the bottom. It's going to be something like that. Maybe a bit less on the bottom there. So it's a bit more consistent, kind of around this corner. It's the same horizontal spacing as it is vertical spacing. And then you'd probably want that to also be 20 pixels, and this to also be 20 pixels, and that to also be 20 pixels, and that'll make it look nice and consistent. I would just say another point on the masonry, although it's quite kind of a cool looking layout, it is looking a little bit dated these days. And I say this using this on my own website, so I'm not being heavily critical. It's looking a little bit dated these days, and also it's actually really hard to scan. So if you want to like just have a look for different content, especially if you're trying to look through it chronologically, I find it really difficult. So hopefully that has really improved that little section there. I think it has. Scroll down a little bit. This is kind of interesting. So far we've had a few buttons. So we've got this I want to be part, or I assume this like I want to join. Is how it's probably translated or something. So we've got that style of button. So it's a kind of, I think it's a solid color. If it's a gradient, it's really subtle. And it's got slightly rounded corners, capitalized white text. And then we've got this button down here, which is just different. So we've got an icon for a start. Then we've got a gradient on it, light to dark. And then the text isn't bold anymore. It's just a very different looking button. So I would definitely be looking to make that a bit more consistent. Let's just try a few things. I mean, it's completely the wrong size and everything. I mean, you can leave that in if you want to, but just for now, it's left a space for it. Let me find that space. It'll be padding left. There it is there. So I'll bring that back in. And then the background color somewhere is set like, I don't know. That's just a bit more consistent. It's not perfect, but personally I think that's better. Whenever you see styles like that are just jarring, it's like, everything's slightly different about it. That's where design starts looking really like just undesigned, like a bit cheap, a bit thrown together. All right. Again here, I'd want to reduce the space underneath our projects. So I'm just going to try. Okay, there's a divider there, so it can go. That's better already, I think. You may disagree. Again, here, big gap here for no. I don't know. There probably is a reason, but just instantly I looked at that and thought, no, that's not quite right. Again, it's using this kind of divider. I don't know. Gotta try to find it in here. So I've set that to 15. Where's my divider gone? It's in here. It's in here somewhere. It's kind of hard to select. There we go. And this may have been something I've broken. I'm not sure, but further up. Yeah, this last child thing. Text column last child. I mean, that rule, well, it's kind of a technical, but that's interesting. Didn't fix what I wanted it to fix, and it added that space back in. Can I undo? Yeah, nice. So anyway, let's just find a quick way to do this. Sometimes I get a bit too into it. Again, let's find margin. This is a super useful little tool. We need some more margin. I don't know what it is, but there's a reason that that's kind of collapsing in a way that doesn't look good. That looks a bit better. And then that's the end of that page. So I think that's improved. I don't like, that's something else I'm going to do. I don't like center aligned text. So there. I think you just about get away with it here. I do. But it's borderline. It's borderline too long a bit of text to be center aligned because it just makes it harder to read. People might argue with me there. You might also look to bring that in line with the image above. This has a fair bit of padding, it seems, there to bring it in. Not sure why it really needs that. There you've got a little bit more, you're just kind of solidifying your kind of grid framework there, which I think personally looks a little bit better. It makes the line length of that text a little bit nicer, and actually going back to center line text now wouldn't be such a bad thing because it's not quite as long a bit of text. Okay, let's just take a look at another page. Should have taken a screenshot of that before I did that because I've lost all those changes, but that's all right. So this is better, right? Slightly different. It doesn't have the transparent background along the header, but this is really strong. This is what I meant. So I would do something like that on the home page. This text, I think, looks better than the text that's on the home page, except it is hard to read. So you could look. Let's just see how this could be really difficult to find. But I would love to find if there's an overlay, a background overlay going on. Anyone seen it yet? Anyone seen it yet? Background. Okay, I think that, yeah, it looks like the image itself has been what's the property? Background blend mode. Ooh, quite like that. Yeah, that's a little bit on the dark side. Just going to set that for a second. And then don't know. That'll do for now. Oh, it defaulted back. Let me bring it back up to here somewhere. Do I need to press enter? I do. I think that's a bit easier to read now. A little bit stronger. You still get the effect of that background, which looks good. Spacing here, I'd want to see a little bit of spacing above this paragraph between that and the title. I'll just quickly fake that. Yeah, you could do. I don't know what the kind of standard units are, but oh, whoops. Oh, that's a shame. Oh, that's okay. I didn't lose it. Open a new tab. Superb. Possibly tighten these up a bit, but they're in squares, so I understand why they're not. That's fine. This is better than it was previously in terms of like how close it is to what's below it compared to what's above it. It's just that slight bit closer to this text. I'd probably want to look to get the height, sorry, the space between the title and the sentence pretty much the same as the space between the sentence and the first box. I'd want to see this. Let's get to here. I think that might have been from my previous change. Possibly. I don't want to go too much further in than that. In fact, for this page, I want to see that. Again, there's spacing stuff here. I don't know how much of this is stuff I've done that it's kind of being persistent with. Interesting. Let's just go back to the home page and see if my changes are still there. No, that's fine. Again, the button needs some spacing. Possibly ditch the gradient, or just make sure all the buttons look like this, the same size, or as close to the same size. You might want some variations in buttons, like a primary button, a secondary button, but you need some consistency between them. So I would look at that. This line length is too long. That's just hard to read. I wonder if I can just in this case kind of fake it a little bit. I don't know. You might want that to look like about 2/3. You could either left align it and left align the title, or we could probably do something like that. It just makes this bit of text much easier to read. This next section, I'd want to see that lined up with this. And then I did notice on this, there's this really weird animation that just does not look right at all. All this text sliding in one big block. And it looks like, each of these should be a title rather than like a paragraph wrapped in a strong tag, which is what it is at the minute. So I'd want to see those actual titles with appropriate spacing. Again, appropriate spacing between the paragraph and the button. So you can see there's some common themes here that I keep coming back to that I just think will really elevate this design. It's consistency, isn't it? It's consistency in spacing and colors and in typography. Spacing things out, making things easier to read. There's just it's the same old stuff over and over again. So I think we're nearly. I think I'll probably do it. Let's just have a quick look at like one of the other pages. Let's just flick through, see if there's anything obvious. Again, this is slightly different. So if you go back to this page, So just look at the typography in the hero section. So much bigger, and then a kind of thin font here. So there's that, and then we click on this, and then we've got a smaller title. At least it looks smaller. It's much closer to the text. The text is now bold instead of thin. It's all of these little inconsistencies that just don't work. This page looks nice because it's consistent. There's certain things I'd want to improve, but you can see that there's consistency here in the colors and the button alignments and everything. Like it, and that looks professional, and that's why it looks professional. Let's just click on another page and see if there's any other examples of this. So we've got something a bit different here. So sometimes we've got this kind of full, like the image goes in behind a transparent header. Sometimes it doesn't, so I'm not sure why that's the case. And then again, we've got this. I actually like this one. I like this typography. I like that size. I like the spacing, and I like that text because it's just easier to read than the thin text. That's good. I find that's a good hero section. I don't know. I think that'll pretty much do it. I'll just go back in a second, unless there's something on this page. Again, line length here. I probably want to bring that either left aligned, or I'm just going to say something like that, or you could even center line that little paragraph potentially. That would work well with the center lined. But let's just do that. Let's just and then on the margin, maybe tighten that up here, maybe give it a little bit more space underneath. This is a classic example of spacing issues. So this ebook title is closer to the paragraph above it than it is below it. So all of these titles should have a fair bit of spacing above them. I wonder if I can do that. Will it make any difference? No, it won't, because it's display table style. What if I do padding top instead? Yeah, there's some really weird stuff going on here, which means that doesn't quite work. It's throwing the alignment of the icons off. If I could do it on this though. This is probably going to break all kinds of stuff. Yeah, it doesn't quite work because it's, yeah, but that's better, right? So I think I'll leave it there. Adriano, hopefully that has been useful. It's obviously a pretty quick tour of the website. I only got to show you a few of the things that I would have done, but hopefully there are some principles that you can use to take forward on the site on any new pages that you build, or maybe go back and try to improve a few of the ones that are there. Yeah, if you thought this was useful, please share this idea, share the tweet that you saw originally. I'll try to do a few more freebies like this until potentially turning it into something a little paid service. So thanks very much, Adriano, for getting in touch, and hope you find that useful. Bye.